Hi, I'm Annabelle and I'm passionate about IELTS. I've been an IELTS teacher for the last 12 years and some of you may already be familiar with the exam and you'll know that IELTS can be interesting. Welcome to this first free mini lesson. Over the next 9 weeks I'm going to be posting mini lessons every week. These will be between 5 and 10 minutes, giving you tips, ideas, strategies and techniques on how to do well in the exam. So, let's have a look at writing task 1. Love it or hate it, it's got to be done. Let's have a look at these individually now. First of all, let's have a look at the line graph.
This is a really simple line graph to start off with. It shows the percentage of non-native pupils in UK high schools. You're expected to sum up this information, identifying the most noticeable features, compare and contrast the data. Before putting pen to paper though, always make sure that you understand the graph, i.e. the x-axis and the y-axis, and you know basically what the graph represents. You can see that there's a general upward trend. You can mention the speed of the growth and also the fact that around 2000 the figure drops a little bit. Often with graphs you will have 3 or 4 different lines inside the graph. Also, you may have another visual, so for example, there could be a pie chart or a table, giving you more scope to demonstrate your language and analytical skills.
And here's a bar chart.
This bar chart represents the estimated literacy rates in the world in 2000. We can see that there are 6 areas. Looking at them more closely, we cannot group them together and say that they are 6 continents. We have to stick to the expression region because we've got developed countries and Arab states in there. As with all of the pictorial representations in Task 1 writing, it is vital that you understand the visual or the diagram before starting. So the numbers on the left hand side represent percentages in this graph and the different colours represent gender. Now, because we're focusing on just 1 year, 2000, we cannot say that there's any growth. However, we can compare and contrast the countries and the differences between men and women. It's also worth noting that it says estimated, so this gives you an opportunity to use language to speculate in the past. Can I just thank Robbie from IELTS Help Now for this and the following Task 1 writing examples.
Next one up is the pie chart.
Okay, so let's have a look at another popular Task 1 writing question, and that is the pie chart. Now, here we've got 2. At first glance it probably looks a little bit daunting, but don't panic. As I mentioned earlier, it does give you more scope to display your knowledge of the language and your understanding of the visuals. So the pie charts show the total world energy consumption and electricity generation for last year. First of all, you'll have a look for similarities and differences. So the thing that hits me first of all is the pie chart on the left, the total world energy consumption. We've got 25.1% of coal, which was the second largest. And then if we have a look at coal in the next pie chart and the total world electricity generation, coal is the number 1 with 39.8%. If we look at oil on the left hand pie chart, it's 34.3%, and then on the right hand side it's only 6.7%, so a big difference there.
Here's a table.
Tables appear quite regularly in the IELTS writing Task 1. At first glance there's a lot to take in, there's a lot of information, but by reading the rubric carefully and analysing each column, breaking it down makes it a lot more manageable. So this table shows the world's 10 most expensive countries for petrol, along with other financial information. So let's have a look at the first column. Here we've got the countries, and then the next 2 columns, they represent dollars. The first one is the monthly disposable income, the next one the average monthly petrol expenditure. The final column represents the percentage of monthly income which is spent on petrol.
And here's an example of a process and a cycle.
Processes and cycles are a lot less common than the pie chart or the bar chart or the line graph. However, you still need to be prepared for them. So, this process here then shows how uranium is used in the production of nuclear power. Starting at the top left-hand picture, just scan the information following the arrows down to the bottom. Summarizing this, you would make a note of how many stages there are and then describe each one using linking words to connect the ideas.
And finally, here's an example of a map.
Maps and plans are the least frequent in the writing task 1. However, again, you need to be prepared. This map shows the town of Oakwood with some surrounding areas and demographic information and 3 proposed sites for new supermarkets. So, identify where A, B and C are. Have a look at what's surrounding them. What you have to do is to summarize the information and explain the suitability for each of these supermarkets sites. Often, when you have a map to describe in the exam, you are asked to describe, say, between the differences from 1980 and, say, 2000 and how a town has grown or shrunk or developed